Hi guys, chart guy Zach here. Just got to make a quick analysis video. This is my second one of today, or rather the second one within 24 hours. The US equity markets have closed around 3 hours ago on the 2nd of May 2022. Look what amazing action we got. We're looking at the daily chart of the SPY, which is the ETF that tracks the S&P 500. As I said in my last video yesterday, I said if they gap it lower or even if they take price lower, but by the end of the day, they bring price back up again and we close above the low of the 24th of February, we are going to get, or we should be getting, a blistering rally to the upside. And this could be, just could be, the low of this market correction we've had since this correction began. When did it begin? It began around November or December, end of December, and we've been going up and down, up and down. We could have made a major low in this correction that we've had in the last 3 or 4 months. So mark my words, you saw it here first. As again, I should always point out that the content of this video does not constitute financial nor trading advice, and any trading you do off the back of this video is done entirely at your own risk, and aggregated finance cannot and will be not be held responsible for any losses that occur as a result of acting upon anything mentioned in this video. But looking at the charts, this is technical analysis in action. So during the day, the SPY, the S&P 500, was down 1.7% at the low, and I put a note out on a Telegram group, various groups. On one of the groups, I put out, I think we've got around 40 members in that particular group. I put out a message. I'm saying, guys, even though the markets are down here, it's not important where we are now. I don't care how much the markets are down. It's a case of where do we finish the day. Now, some of you guys out there that saw that message, and some of you that saw my last video, especially after I put the message out today, must have thought I was on crack. If the market's down 1.7%, the news is looking terrible and dire. How on earth will the markets turn around and finish the day positive? Some of you guys must have thought I was totally off my rocker, as we say here in England. And look at where we finished. Let me go to the intraday chart, the 10-minute intraday chart. Look at that. At the low of the day, which was at 2:50 Eastern Standard Time. That's 1 hour and 10 minutes before the close. The markets were down 1.7% on the day, and the last hour they just whipped it higher. Look at that. And nobody would have foreseen that unless you know how to read charts and unless you know proper technical analysis. So why am I going on and on about the SPY when really we're a sort of trading crypto trading forum? Basically, the S&P 500 will determine and will tell us, as I've mentioned in my last video, whether we are in a risk on or risk off mode. And given that we've seen this signal here, this bottoming signal, major bottoming signal, this means we should now be in a risk on environment, and this should filter through to the cryptos, Ethereum and Bitcoin especially. Now, looking at this, just before we go to the crypto charts, the SPY, I reckon we should, in the coming days, possibly the coming weeks, we should make a meaningful move up towards the 440 level, and we may sort of muck around a bit and go sideways. We might consolidate, and then I'm hoping that we make greater strides higher. Where are we 3 and 6 months from now? Very difficult to tell. Do we come back down again at some point in the next few weeks or months and test this low? I don't know for sure. Nobody can say with certainty. My hunch, and again, a hunch is not a good enough thing to go on to place a trade. My hunch is that we've seen a major low for a number of months at the very least, if not longer. That's just my hunch. But again, take it one step at a time. All right. Now, assuming this plays out as I'm foreseeing, and we start to make a meaningful move higher in the equity markets, where do we go with the cryptos? So let's switch over to that. So this is the daily chart of, what are we looking at? We're looking at Ethereum. And as I've said, the markets went lower, but the cryptos really are in this sort of downward, gentle, sideways consolidation. And we're now already starting to see the green bars based off what we saw in the S&P 500. So assuming we're in a risk-on environment, we should start to make a marked move higher, meaningful move higher. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, and then we'll quickly look at the weekly charts. So Switching to Bitcoin, very similar thing here. We've got this sideways sort of gentle downward slope. We did not get a big red bar in the last few days that took us to new lows. And, you can watch my previous video where we sort of broke down what we were seeing. So assuming we're in a risk-on environment over the coming days and weeks, Bitcoin should then start to move higher along with Ethereum. Now, however, there is a big sort of caveat here. Let's look at the weekly chart. The fact is the moving averages on the weekly chart. This is now the Bitcoin weekly chart. The moving averages, 20 moving averages pointing downwards, and the 50 moving averages also sort of, well, it's starting to taper off, but they're in downward alignment, which tells us that this is a bearish sign. We're in a down trend on the medium-term time frame. In addition, price is seeming to be stuck below this weekly 20 moving average, which is pointing downwards, and we seem to be struggling to get above it. And it will be the same story on Ethereum, no doubt, as we've been seeing every single day in our videos. So switching to Ethereum, exactly the same thing that's going on here. Now, but what told me is, as you saw in my video yesterday, the fact that the market's flush lower, but we did not go lower and make new lows. We held these lows. That tells me that the cryptos, although they look bearish on the medium-term time frame, they're not ready to go down, and therefore I'm of the opinion that hopefully with this risk-on rally that we should be seeing now in the coming days and weeks in the S&P 500, that this should propel cryptos higher. How quickly, I don't know. How quickly will this negative, this bearish alignment being stuck with price being remaining stuck underneath the moving averages? I don't know. But normally, when you have a risk-on environment, assets like cryptos should then follow suit. Interestingly, on the daily time frame, the 50 MA is still pointing upwards, which tells us we're in a sort of medium-term uptrend. Let me just check on Bitcoin and see what the 50 moving average is doing. Again, it is sort of sideways, but it wasn't ever in a steep downtrend. So this is telling us, we're in a sideways move. All right, guys. So that's I'll wrap up the video here, and I look forward to seeing how these charts will unfold over the coming days. Catch up with you guys soon.